Good morning. I'm Shannon Coon, and I'm so happy to be starting this week with you. This week, each one of us is going to focus on a different proverb. We call it a proverb a day. While the Bible's not a manual on how to live, there is certain literature within the Bible that gives wise guidance on living a godly life. And Proverbs is ancient literature, but it offers so much wisdom that is still so relevant today. Probably one of my favorite Proverbs is 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Again, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is actually a proverb I have kept close to my heart for quite some time. It's so important to me. It makes me remember the days when I lived in New York City, and I would periodically take a taxi. And let me tell you, when you get in many New York City taxi cabs, you can really learn what it's like to put your life in someone else's hands. Now, these days, when you go to New York and you get in a taxi, there's a little plaque on the back of the taxi driver's seat, and it says the rider's bill of rights. So as a rider in the cab, there are certain rights that you have, and it tells you one of those rights is that you can dictate to the driver exactly which route you want him to take you. And he's supposed to go that exact route. That is your right as a passenger. Well, when I lived in New York City, there was none of that. There was no such thing. You could tell the driver how you wanted to go, but you often got an argument from him. I learned early on that once I got into a taxi, I was entering the realm of the driver's expertise. He drove the streets of New York all day. He would know which was the best way to go. And sometimes, regardless of how circuitous our route seemed, and no matter how illogical some of the streets were that we would drive down, the driver always got me to my destination, and almost always a better route than I would have told him to go. I learned to trust that the driver knew best. I learned that what appeared to me to be the direct route to my destination was actually the worst way to go, because perhaps there was a parade on that street that day, or maybe at certain times that route was just super congested and the driver knew. And so I learned to trust. I learned to trust that the driver knew. And I have to admit that one of the great things about trusting in the driver in those experiences was that I had the benefit of saving money, because I didn't sit with a ticking meter in a cab. Often I saved time and frustration and money. That's how I think of this proverb. My own understanding, no matter how smart or discerning I might be, is not always the best route to take. It's not always wrong or bad, but I can save myself frustration and all kinds of other emotions if I simply trust God above my own understanding. Sometimes God has a circuitous route or diverts down a side street that I would not have taken. It is in my best interest to lean into the expertise of God as the driver and trust that God has the bigger picture of my life and always has the best interest, my best interest at heart. So today, as we go through the day, what would it be like if we learned to really trust God to be our driver and to lean on God, not our own understanding? It certainly takes a level of surrender, doesn't it? It takes a certain pause to pray and ask God for guidance. It takes remembering in our minds the times that God has taken us down better routes than we could have gone ourselves. So friends, as we go into this day, may we do so leaning not on our own understanding, but on the God of the universe. Many blessings to you today.